Well. What's up, everybody? Another edition of Geektastic Cypher here on Free X Agents Media. You guys can find us on youtube.com/@FXA Media. We like to keep it nice and simple. And in true usual fashion, we will try our best not to swear for the first 5 minutes. Dave, looking at you. Some of us have
It's not
natural
my
beeps in our
fault.
system. Hey, you did it. All right. Hey, man, I'm down. If you think you could keep that up, I'd be totally down. You, by all means, swear all you want. You could say every word you want, and it would be great by me. But I don't mind. This is fantastic. I was listening to a podcast the other day, and it was the first time I've heard a show, because that show specifically, they swear all the time on the show. Trash Tuesdays, for those who don't know, it's a podcast with Kalila Kuhn, what's her name, Annie Letterman, and Esther. I don't remember Esther's last name right now, but they're a bunch of comedians, except for Kalila, but whatever. And on that show, in the first 5 minutes, they try and keep it clean because the show is three women who tend to just kind of talk and say whatever they want.
Oh boy,
they do it all the time. And they noticed that their numbers weren't great for the beginning of their show, so they decided to change their strategy, and they started to be like, "We're gonna have the first 5 wholesome minutes, or like some weird BS like that."
Mm-hmm.
They never got through it. Anytime they said at the beginning of the show, "We're gonna try and have the wholesome 5," they would immediately start talking about super and not even inappropriate things. You can talk
super
about
messed up stuff.
No, but not even it's messed up. Like, they were talking about their periods, but they got graphic in the description of things.
Well, you can get graphic and not swear.
Oh, no. But I'm pretty sure they still get flagged if they start talking graphic about body parts and things coming from body parts and the texture of the things from body parts. That's where things start to get a little messy. And no pun intended.
Remember, everybody, childbirth. Beautiful, amazing.
Yes,
Can't talk bad about it. Amazing. It's miracle upon miracles.
Fantastic. Yes.
The misses before that. No, that's dirty. You can't talk about that. What are you doing? Flag.
No, we all know the overlords at Google already don't like anything slightly sexual, because I don't know if you guys know, but at one point they were flagging anything that had to do with LGBTQ plus content, which was a whole other major issue with the YouTube for a while. And Google and ABC, the parent companies, let's not pretend like people like to just say YouTube. There's multiple layers in that parent company where people are keeping track of stuff. So let's all put all their names out. ABC.
All the Alphabet Corporation.
Yes.
Oh, wait, no, Google is Alphabet. Never mind.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Alphabet. Yeah.
Well,
that's good. That was well done. But yeah, so it's been. We probably won't talk about it a lot this week because I don't think that anything major has changed in the world of the writer's strike. But I will give you guys a rundown at the top of the show. And I would like to do this as a segment until the strike is over to give you guys an update on which shows are affected by the strike and which shows are not. So you ready for this? P-Valley stars P-Valley, which is filming its 3rd season, has been postponed in its production in Atlanta due to the strike. There was picketing on set or near the set, so they had to stop. Ava DuVernay drama, this new series that is being produced, is halting production due to the strike. The series has been filming in Wilmington since March and has stopped production this week. WGA picketers have shuttered production on Apple TV series Sinking Spring. Good Trouble, the 5th season of the Freeform series, has halted on Tuesday due to picketing. Guys, this one's the one that's going to hurt the most, I think, for the nerds out there. Daredevil Born Again.
Oh, no.
Yeah, Marvel's upcoming revival on Disney Plus wrapped for the day Monday the 8th, about 1 p.m. due to picketing, according to sources. No filming was done the rest of the day. They are hoping to restart the next day. So maybe they did go back yesterday. We would have to find out on social media. I didn't see anything else. But as the strike continues, I am understanding that they are going to start pressuring at more filming sites to try and slow things down. Because one of the problems was, or I guess not really a problem, but something that the studios probably shouldn't have said. A lot of the studios said, well, okay, the strike can happen now, but we still have content. or we have stuff in the pipeline that is going to get produced.
Mm.
So, you guys
Mm.
can pick it and you go on your strike and it's fine. But one of the things that the other unions, so like the Teamsters and the IATSE, who I don't know if you guys remember, were almost on strike a couple months back.
Mm.
Both of those crews, they are contractually obligated to still continue their work. However, in their own unions, they have a stipulation that says they are not allowed to cross picket lines. So if there is a picket line by the WGA at any of the filming locations, those two unions do back up their members, their members in their decision to not cross the picket line, thus shutting down production at a lot of these things. Meaning that even though the writers are on strike and these other people are supposed to be working, if there's a picket line, they won't cross it, and the productions will shut down for the day. So if they keep doing stuff like this at major projects, it will delay things moving forward. You have Evil. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was just gonna add. I don't mind if it gets delayed. I just don't want what happened with Heroes. I don't want that to happen again.
Well, I mean, Heroes was a product of the strike happening mid-season, and they only had enough content to just release what they released. So they couldn't, like, Heroes is probably a perfect example for anyone who's too young to know what Heroes is. It was a really interesting, my God, the fact that there are people too young to know Heroes is crazy to me.
Well, I mean, they're swimming in the fruits of the labor of Heroes, basically.
Yes, we are. That's true. I would say Heroes, and what's the other show with Homeboy
Ordinary
that was
Family?
Yes, yo, the
Is
fact
it Ordinary Family? It's something Family.
No, I think it's No Ordinary Family.
Yeah, it's
Something
basically
like
The Incredibles, but not good.
Dude, the fact that you got that immediately, we were so in sync for that. Yes.
Mentat.
That show, facts. That show, that and Heroes were two superhero shows, and a very interesting thing to see as young people watching all the superhero content that we read in comic books. They were now trying to make primetime television out of that concept. Was very interesting, but they did do a decent job. Heroes season 1 is a very good show.
It's a banger.
Yeah, season 2 and season 3 unfortunately affected by the strike, and season 3 affected by the fact that season 2 didn't continue the story properly.
And they had some good concepts after season 2, season 3. Like I remember there was one that was like one season, one actual, like, I'm talking about season, like in the sense of like NBC has a season of shows that they play in a season, right?
Yeah.
They had 2 chapters.
Yes,
it was like season 3, and it was clearly season 3 and season 4. You know what I mean? Like when you were watching these things. And I remember being like, season 4 was like really not that bad.
Right.
It was pretty good. And then I believe season 5 was the
reboot.
It was the circus one.
Oh, sorry. You're referring. Okay, you should just call them chapters, because I can't call that season 5, because that to me is season.
Okay,
3.
so good. So I like chapter 1 being season 1 was good.
Right.
Chapter 2 was a disaster because it was an they took like 4 episodes and just like stretched it the whole time.
Yeah.
And season 3 was meh. Season 4 was pretty good because I was like, when it was like you had enough you had better graphics, newer characters, and it was like the FBI and stuff. Then it was the circus season.
Yeah.
Then it, like, the only thing is the circus season dismount wasn't the best.
Right. Okay. I stopped watching before they even got to the circus season. I couldn't watch anymore because I'd been so disappointed in the stuff that led up to that.
True.
I was just like, I don't want to watch this, which is unfortunate because I do think it would have been interesting. And I think Heroes was an interesting series. But like we said, due to the writer's strike, Heroes really did get affected in its season 2, which was, like you were saying, chapter 2, right?
Yeah. Like I don't recall at the time really complaining about anything else because of the writer's strike.
Yeah,
like maybe Lost.
Supernaturals, I know, is the other one that got affected pretty badly.
Yeah.
At least that's what people tell me. I've never.
Yeah, but they survived, man. They survived the
seasons.
hard.
I think it was.
Did it really affect it if they made it like 20 years?
True. I don't know if you guys know this, but the new show, The Winchesters, now has a time travel element in which Jensen Ackles' character comes back and is somehow in the Winchester series.
Of course.
That's
Winchester's the name of the brothers. That's what it is.
Yes,
And-
the Winchesters are the brothers Sam and Dean Winchester, and then they have a prequel series now about the parents. And in the prequel series set in the past, Dean's character, I think I think Jensen Ackles played Dean, somehow has appeared in that series, which people are just like, how, why, don't, please. So,
and then all the fangirls are like, squee.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. That's the thing I find weird, because the new show isn't really just two handsome brothers traveling America dealing with demons. It's now about the mom, the dad, and like a whole crew of people. And I don't even know what their story is. But
it's not two handsome brothers traveling around America. It's one that's tortured about his past, and the one that's super gun-ho about being in the family business of what was it, monster catching or monster, like one's super into it and the other one's like, oh, I'm dead.
I'll really quick run down the rest of the shows that are being affected. Evil, which is a Paramount Plus series that originally was on CBS. Stranger Things, which I think we already mentioned. Loot, which is the Maya Rudolph show. Hacks, which is the Gene Smart show. Unstable, which is the Rob Lowe and his son John Owen Lowe on Netflix. Night Court, Billions, Power Book 3, Raising Kanan, and Cobra Kai are all shows that were recently affected by the writer's strike, be it that they shut down completely or that they potentially shut down for a day. But yeah, we're letting you guys know more about that in the future, so you know whether or not your favorite shows are coming back.
Are we gonna get back to our prediction from last week? The prediction that I made.
What was it that you made?
We're wondering what would be affected by the writer's strike, and I said R.I.P. Blade.
Right. Well, you're right. You called it. Blade. I don't know if we could say it's dead.
Well, not dead, but sure getting affected. Because
definitely.
Wasn't that movie supposed to come out this year? That movie was supposed to come out this year. They were supposed to be working on it. It was in the pipe. Man. They brought Mahershala out, and they're like, "Yay!" Like that was this year.
That's brutal, man.
That was this.
I can't believe how many times that's been fucked.
I got to say though, I want Blade, but at the same time, I kind of want the mutants first.
Oh, I so want mutants first.
I want mutants first. Like, Blade is a really cool character, and I'm happy that for some reason the Eternals got a nod with Blade at the end. But even that, I was like, we didn't need this.
How does he even relate to them?
Like, well, Black Knight.
I know, but like even at that, you're like, Black Knight, like, come on.
Hey man, Black Knight's in the movie. Like, I get it. I
get how they do it, but it's like, it's a reach. Like, you know what I mean? Like they made a very strong reach. They pull it off because they're Marvel. They know how to do it, but still, that was like.
Also, like their whole Midnight Sun video game thing. Like, there was a lot of promo set with Blade in mind.
Moon Knight coming, having his TV. Like, there was a lot of hints and stuff.
Yeah, and they're not. Hopefully, they can stick the landing. Maybe all this waiting. I mean, not the same situation, but the first Ant-Man with Edgar Wright that was supposed to be on it had a whole bunch of kind of pivots and changes. And the first Ant-Man's really solid. So
I completely agree. Like,
fingers crossed, maybe Blade won't get screwed over.
Like, but do they have all the pieces? It's just that they're delayed now because of the writer's strike, right?
Well, there's production was delayed, director was delayed and changed over, writing was taking forever, writer strike. Like, I don't know what phase of production they were in. But even let's say they did finish the script and they wanted to go into production and they have the director. Guess what? They still can't do that because they won't have anyone on set. They won't have like any writers, script writers on set. So you still can't really make the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Who knows, man? Who knows? But we have a guest, folks. We have our guest this week. Nerdstock Fest. Devin is in the house. We're going to add Devin to the stream. What's up, Devin?
Yo, guys. It's been a minute.
It's been a minute, sir.
Hey, how's everyone doing?
Hey, man. We're just dealing with the industry not giving a about the fans. That's this is an unfortunate thing when it comes to TV and film, but it's a wild state to be in.
Well, if you want a good laugh, I got this in the mail not too long ago. It's the John Leahy Dictionary of Shit.
Oh, okay.
So this little book explains everything that's wrong with the world today.
Oh boy. Okay.
Just to be the time caller here, 15 minutes, almost 16 minutes in, we got our first swear word. We did it, guys. No,
Dave actually said one on purpose, I'm sure, at the 12-minute mark.
Yeah.
And I was just like, why are you doing that? And I full on ignored it because I was just like, I'm not giving you the credit.
I don't give a fuck.
And just to make it nerdy, it was signed by his daughter.
Hey, that's
nice.
So it's official.
Yeah. So what's your favorite show right now on TV, Devin?
Oh man, so many. Actually, right now I'm watching the show called From.
Oh yeah, okay. With what's his name? Mercutio from the.
He was from Lost too. Also,
he was in Lost. He was in Oz. He was in Romeo and Juliet.
Mhm.
And
was he also in The Matrix? He was like the operator.
Yes. What's his name? I always forget his name.
Oh, the guy who was in the wheelchair and all.
And the chair.
That dude from that show, from that thing, you know?
Yeah.
I think. No.
This is what happens when you're in everything, but no one can remember. It's like Luis Guzman. I could not remember Luis Guzman's name for the longest time until he was in a Community.
And they named the school after him.
Yeah. And then I was just
I don't even remember my own name. I had the tattoo to my arm.
Harold Perrineau?
Harold Perrineau. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. So Harold Perrineau from the story is that it's a weird town that people get stuck in because I feel like
it's almost like I'm watching Lost, but with like horror elements.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't want to give any spoilers or anything, but it's exactly what you said. People are stuck in a town. I'm on season 2 now, episode 2 or 3. Still not entirely sure who or what's got them trapped, but it's like it feels exactly like the Lost buildup, and I fear that it's just going to end like Lost like that. I'm just like, what do we watch all this for? But
oh my god, the description: in a nightmarish town in Middle America that traps everyone who enters, unwilling residents strive to stay alive and search for a way out, but they are plagued by the terrifying nocturnal creatures from the surrounding forest and secret hidden in the town.
Yeah, they only come out at night, so it's kind of like a vampire spiel.
God damn.
But they're not really vampires. And apparently they're not the worst things there also. So
is it like Once Upon a Time where whenever you leave the town, you just end up flipping
exactly
back?
like that. And
brutal.
When they introduced the main family that came in, they're in their RV going around and around. They would turn around, go back around. It's like, how do we end up back here again? It's like, well, it's actually worth watching. It's really entertaining right now.
I still don't do horror, so maybe I'll try it one day because I do really like Perrineau, Harold, as an actor. And I guess, but every time
I'm just having the Lost PTSD kick in there every time I watch an episode. I'm like, no.
Well, we've talked about Lost, right, Dave? You didn't love the finale for Lost, but you did like the show.
I honestly, I hated on that show. Full transparency, I hated on that show blindly for like about 2 seasons.
Right.
Like all my friends were watching it. I'm like, this doesn't make sense because I never actually sat there and watched an episode.
That's fair.
And then I got kind of I went over to friend's place. He's like, I'm watching the ending of season 2. Shut the fuck up. I know how much you hate it. You can't talk.
Wild time to jump in.
If you want to come over, you can't talk. I'm like,
wild time to jump into a show.
You know, and then I see the first.
I just want to point out, if someone jumped into Heroes end of season 2, they would never watch the show.
Never.
I just like that you jumped in at the end of season 2 of a series. Anyways, go ahead.
It may have been. It's the whichever season that you see the first flash. The ending is the first flash forward that you ever see. So I'm not sure if it's 2 or 3. So my apologies if I mix them up. Then I saw that, and then I was like, what? And then I asked my friend. My friend straight up realized I liked the show in that moment. And he was like, he like texted all the people in our like little group chat. And he's just like, don't tell Dave like a damn thing. And they made me watch it.
They blocked you.
I watched the whole season, got into it. Then there was the next season that was dope. And then the season after that, it was the time travel season.
Yeah.
And then it was the last season. And I remember I was with all the key people I was making fun of at the beginning, watching the last episode.
Yeah.
And at the end of that last 15 minutes, I got up and I'm like, I should have stuck insulting this fucking show. Fuck this show. This last 15 minutes ruined all of this.
I don't want to go into a long discussion, but I just need one thing. I just need to confirm one thing. They were in limbo the whole time.
The whole time. And people asked them blatantly, is it just limbo? Like they're like, no, it's something way more interesting than that. And you're like,
it was like a firm of purgatory or something like that.
Yeah, but don't some of the characters leave and like go home?
That's the only thing that's the thing. The
never explained it.
Was this.
They never explained
promised to answer questions. So
right.
Their whole mechanism was always give a bunch of questions, and then the next episode answer like 70% of those questions at best.
Okay.
So you're left with 30% from the last episode, and then they just kept repeating that. And then in season 6, you're kind of getting answers, but you're basing all of your answers based off of like getting a solid answer at the end.
And then you don't
and that
really
never
get
happened.
a solid answer. Okay.
No, because like the example, there's one short that is like a 15-minute short with no one from the cast other than Ben for the last 30 seconds.
Okay.
And that answers more questions than the ending of the season. I found like okay, it's limbo, sure, but then how does any of this make sense? And at least in that one, you were like given context for stuff,
right?
Like the polar bear and things like that. Like why?
And smoke monsters.
And they gave a bit, and you're like, oh, cool. I wish there was more of this. And it came out after the show ended, so you were kind of like that.
And that's what's got the PTSD for me from the show because it's got that kind of same buildup. There's more questions being asked, and you're like,
yeah.
And here I'm season 2 already. I'm like, what's happening?
So similar to what Dave was saying, you're getting kind of like 70 to 75% answered as you go, but there's always this part that you just are like, okay, but you're not explaining this. And then
actually, they're not even at the 50% marker right now. It's
damn,
really,
you're just living in a weird world.
Is it feeling like purgatory again? Like, do you think like if the show ended tomorrow, the writers could be like, oh, it was purgatory, and you could be like, oh crap, you fuckers did that shit again?
Yeah, it actually it does look like it's going that, or they might go like I don't know, what was that movie called? Dark something. They're like a city in space, but they don't realize it. And time keeps freezing.
I know. I actually know what movie he's talking about, and Dark is in the title, but I don't remember the name of the movie.
Do you remember any of the actors?
No, because it's not a.
No, there was a big actor in there. I think.
Yeah, but there was like
Dark City.
I think Ethan Hawke is in it.
Okay. I mean,
that one.
Yeah, it's Dark City. Sorry, it was Kiefer Sutherland who was in that.
Okay. All those the Kiefers and the Ethans,
they're the same. They're that guy always in the movie.
So basically, because stuff like that's been done so many times, I'm kind of expecting it's like a purgatory thing, a hell thing, or there's an alien experiment thing, or all the above. Who knows?
Well, it's really messed up, and it's unfortunate, but / fortunate, I guess. Even Battlestar Galactica technically ends with kind of like these are real people, but then like one of the characters might have been an alien, an angel, and one of the two of these characters might have been Adam and Eve, and like you start to hear these, and you're like, "What are you talking about?" But when the series ends, Starbuck vanishes into thin air, and you're like, "What?" Starbuck died, and then somehow miraculously came back, which. When you understand that Universal Studios owned Sci-Fi Channel and they also owned Bionic Woman, and the reason she left Battlestar Galactica was to go star on, or second or third cast member on Bionic Woman. So when Bionic Woman, when they canceled Bionic Woman, they were just like, we can bring her back. We like her. So they just put her back on the show, and they're like, figure out how to put her back in. And they just made her an angel. that they never you watch the show and she comes back. They don't explain how she comes back. You get all the way to the end, and once they save themselves and they're on the planet, they're what's his name? Apollo is talking to her, and then he turns around and turns back and she's gone. And then he just kind of looks at yeah. And you're like, get the fuck out of here. Like, you can't just decide to bring a character back and then make them an angel. That's not a thing you could do on TV, guys. But I guess every show has its weird world, weird ways now. It is what it is, as they say. Buddy, Devin, do you want to tell people? I'm wearing the vest. I got this vest from last year's.
Yeah, that's from Recon. We're going to talk about him in a second. But we all know that last year that we were supposed to have this big, wonderful 2-day nerdy musical event, but apparently it was too much too soon for the world of the pandemic that was still happening last summer, because I was getting cancellations left, right, and center. Contracts were getting changed. And basically, we had to take the ultimate decisions like, look, it's just not happening this year. But that grew into something new and different, because not only are we back this year for this summer, but we've also expanded to Ottawa.
Oh, dope.
So our first Nerdstock event, which is the one we're going to talk about today, is on June 10th at Fufun Electric. And all this is because of my buddy Hugo from Recon. If you want to check him out, just Google Recon. I think it's recon.org or something like that. But he's a huge Nerdcore fan, and he actually reached out to me last year when I was promoting the first Nerdstock Fest. He's like, "Hey, I saw your book like every Nerdcore artist on the East Coast," and I'm like, yeah, well, I kind of wanted them to come and all that. He's like, yeah, but normally I book all the nerdcore artists for my show, Recon, private. The one we went to, we met Megaran and all those guys. But basically, I guess it was fate, because in the end, I unfortunately, the show could not. That's the first time I've ever really had to cancel a show. I've never canceled a show in the past, and it stung me a lot.
Yeah.
But we hooked up, started talking more, and then I introduced the idea to him, and he's like, I love it. Let's do it. And so we're having a really big comeback this June at Fuf's with some first-timer evers to Canada. Like we got MC Frontalot coming, Schaefer the Dark Lord, who's never been here. MC Lars has been to Montreal, but that was like a dog's age ago. I think it was like 10 years ago or so. And this will be the official public debut of Megaran, because last year we went to a private little shindig.
Yeah, I was going to say, because I saw Megaran was on this, and we saw him last year, which was a great show, by the way.
We were very few people who got to see him, which was really great experience. Skinny was there. I was there. You were there. We were just having a great old time.
It got to be more of an intimate show. I mean, we can say it was small, but there was actually quite a few people in that crowd. And
there was enough people there.
Yeah.
Oh, and also that wasn't even his full capacity crowd, because this year he's actually booked the entire upstairs section of Fufun's.
Oh, dope.
To go between Recon and Nerdstock. So there's going to be some Recon events happening there, and then Nerdstock's happening on the Saturday night for the public. Tickets are on sale. Just go to nerdstockfest.com. You'll even see our other events coming up. You probably missed this, Skinny, but we actually expanded to Ottawa now too.
Very cool.
Our first Ottawa show is going to be July 22nd, but the headliners for Ottawa are going to make a pit stop in Montreal first on July 21st with Master Sword. They're the Zelda-based power metal band. I'm so excited to see this guy.
Shit.
I've been trying for years to get them up here. They were supposed to be one of the headliners last year. So me just keeping my word to people that said, hey, I'll get you back. Well, I'm getting them all back.
The nerds are proud. We're happy. We're looking forward to it. How does it feel to be back?
A little stressed right now because I'm not. It's been a minute since I stopped doing things altogether. But I'm also very excited at the same time. Like, if you saw the bill that's on June, we got like 8 bands playing that day. It's from 6 to like whenever the hell we feel like finishing. We got it's probably going to be one of the biggest nerdcore shows that this city's ever seen. So you got the Four Horsemen, we got Lex the Lexicon artist, you got Word Burglar coming in. Right there, that's 6 nerdcore artists already coming in, and we're throwing in Double XP, my homeboys from Ottawa, Vunik 2, a local video game band, Xynosaur, Game Genie. Actually, I saw Game Genie. She just did a MagFest show earlier this year. I saw her set online. It was pretty dope, and of course my friends the Ninjas coming in. Great bunch of comedy. These guys are just fun all around. So yeah.
Awesome.
So this is in conjunction with Recon. So Recon is happening, and people can also will the same Recon crowd be there at the shows like last year?
What's happening? Yeah, the Recon. This is more of a public event because what we went to last year was for Recon only.
Right.
This year, this is open to anyone who wants to go. That's why there's tickets on sale. You'll probably get some mix of Recon members, a mix of like public. Online sales have already started. Like pretty much the same day I announced it, tickets started selling. So,
but that's why I was just double checking that like the people from Recon.
Yeah, I want to see them again. That's what we.
You're gonna see Hugo again.
Yes.
Sure.
Because that was the thing. The Recon crowd. That was one of the things I wanted to tell people.
That was the highlight.
Like the show was fantastic. But the audience was also such great energy.
Yeah.
And even though it was a private event, I want people to know, like, if half of those people are at the show and we start to show up, it'll pop off.
Well, basically, we're expecting the venue to be full because, like I said, Recon has both upstairs sections,
right.
The entire. So there's a Recon party happening on the we're going to be in the big venue section,
right?
Nerdstock. And then on the other side of the wall, there you got like the other bar with the smaller venue.
Right.
So they're going to be using that section, but their crowd's going to be coming back and forth because Recon, their tickets also cover their entrance for Nerdstock.
There you go.
Beautiful,
folks.
So it's going to be a party. It's going to be a crazy crazy party.
People from all over the world. It's going to be great.
Yeah, those Recon kids are cool. And do people know what Recon is? Like, am I allowed to mention what Recon is?
They are a cybersecurity convention, cybersecurity software convention. That's what they are.
Oh, is that that's
what they call it publicly?
Yeah, that's what we call it publicly.
Right?
That's exactly
because I was going to give it another name that was.
I know.
Like I was about to be like,
no. They are a cybersecurity software convention.
Right.
So was it like more like that? I was gonna say, was it more like that mosh pit from All About the Pentiums music video from Weird Al? It's like all these bunch of nerds, they party hard, man.
Let's put it this way, Wendell. Most of these Recon folk have mistakenly found their way into certain websites and then may have found a job afterwards.
Yes, that is possibly the best way to describe.
Oh, hello, Pentagon.
Yeah.
Oh, how'd I get in here?
I have no knowledge of anything which you are speaking of.
We are just joking around, talking out the side on there.
You're saying,
oh my god!
You're saying don't leave your Wi-Fi on.
Forget Wi-Fi.
Okay, I got you.
Great! Now my phone's ringing, boys.
Don't even tap your phone next to them.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, when you have your phone out, make sure you put your phone on airplane mode.
Yeah, turn that NSS stuff off.
Turn your data off.
Just snap it in half.
I have the fold too, so I have to snap real hard. But no.
You did get the fold flip.
I did get the fold flip.
All right.
But like, be mindful. You know what? This is almost the type of party where I want to tell people like, don't even bring your phones or leave them. Like, just come and party and don't have your phone not just because the cybersecurity convention people could take out their phones and tap. All of a sudden, you and your girlfriend's private pictures are all over the internet, but also just because it's a fun party and just celebrate and have fun and be in the moment. And, unless Mega Ran jumps down into the crowd like he did last year and starts rapping in the middle of a cipher, which was pretty badass if you ask me.
Pretty crazy.
Which was the only time you really need your phone because you just want to be like, yo, and you're like taking video of yourself and you're like Mega Ran's behind you. You're like, you're doing that geek thing you do.
Actually, the beauty of the show is the tech side of people from the con. They basically leave it at the con. They just go to host the party and boy, do they party.
They were cool people, man.
I ain't telling nobody I'm a sysadmin. Don't want to talk about kind of C++. Nothing.
Yeah, don't mention where you work.
We're
Don't
not
mention
SSHing into nothing.
But no, so that's exactly what we did to help rebuild and bring back Nerdstock. We teamed up with some partners. So we have Recon that we've teamed up with this year, and we have for Ottawa we're teamed up with Colfax Music Entertainment. They're also the labels for certain bands, just such like Double Experience. They manage them too.
Dope.
So. And I'm already shopping around for more cities out west or out east, whatever.
All right.
Trying to make this into a traveling circus.
As long as you don't have people painting their faces Juggalo styles, but all of a sudden like nerd style, like just like weird nerd logos on their faces,
like freckles and stuff.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to think of like maybe they're like painting Deadpool or Spider-Man eyes as they go around, and they're just like gang, like they're like weird.
I am not trying to start a mafia.
Might be.
Or a cult.
Oh my gosh.
Every time I see the running of the Juggalo stuff, I'm just like, can you believe this probably started off with like 10 guys in a backyard, like wrestling together on a mattress and listening to heavy metal, and then it turned into this insane Juggalo like and I'm not even trying to make fun. That I legit think it was probably a bunch of kids just hanging with their friends, like suplexing on, like just doing the craziest wrestling things to each other, and then someone was just like, yo man, we should like get our friends over and like do a show. And then this is what like 10 years later, 20 years later.
I did it.
Well, that's how Nerdstock happened. I was just had a bar with one of the dudes from 2XP where we just finished doing their show. He's like, you know, it'd be cool. I'm like, what? If we do this at like at a con or something. I'm like, yeah, you got a point. A couple weeks later, Nerdstock.
If that's not a description of
and that was back in 2016, which launched our first one in 2017.
Wild.
Oh, let me rewrite the dialogue for that conversation. If I had to make that a movie, what? Okay, you guys improvise this whole part.
Yeah, it's pretty much all improvisation and a little hazy too. Who knows? We have no idea what's going on anymore.
So I'll just share it again for people. That's the website. You guys can check it out, nerdstockfest.com. And then the four-eyed horseman.
Yeah.
So you
because
guys
they all wear glasses.
Is your symbol this? Well, actually, Star Trek would get mad, but it's so funny because four, but it's live, love, and anyway.
Yeah, that would have been cool.
And it's also four. Oh, triple entendre star. Don't mind me.
Triple entendre.
It's the V, and then it's like the Star Trek nerd, and then it's a four.
So yeah, that's the big one for June 10th, and then you guys can come in, and if you want, hopefully you'll get some time to interview some of these first timers that come in, and some repeat offenders.
I'm on Word Burglar's ass. 100%.
Yeah. I haven't spoken to Word Burglar in a minute. I used to see him at Fan Expo in Toronto every year. He used to work at Silver Snail, the comic book shop. So him and I used to go deep. He also used to write a comic book back in the day that I used to buy every year when I went to the con. So I'm actually really looking forward to catching up with Word Burglar because that dude's fun. He had a kid recently too, if I'm not mistaken.
So.
Two kids now? Oh, snap. Okay.
Is that number 2
Kid Club. What up? Let's go.
Yeah. Seriously, yeah. You can talk about music industry and being pops at the same time.
Right here, to myself, my oldest is turning 13. Actually,
my God,
You're a veteran in this shit. Though.
I don't even.
I am.
Like,
I am not even ready to talk about
able to feed herself. I think you kind of get extra.
Mine's registered to babysit your kids now.
There you go. Right. I just got dad level 1.
Well, if you need a babysitter, I got hookups for you, man.
Yo, that's so. Can you imagine being a parent of a child that can take care of other children already? You're just like, what is this?
Legit, she's certified. She actually did the course and everything. She's trained in first.
Oh, there's courses now.
Yeah,
of course, man. You're not just gonna be like, all right, you won't watch my kid.
Here's my kid to watch you.
Bro, like white people regulated that shit years ago. What do you mean?
I remember I babysat one of my teachers in high school.
Brian, I'm ashamed.
He was just like, yo, I need a babysitter, and he had me babysit his kid, and I was just like, yeah, no problem. His kid was mad cool, but he hated losing at cards, and him and I were playing cards, and I remember it's not my fault. I was better at Crazy Eights than he was. So at one point, I end up on the balcony and he locks me out on the balcony. Little did he know, though, I grew up in Uptown. Those little balcony locks, I know how to pop those. So when he locks me on the balcony, he turns around and runs off thinking he's done, and I walk back in 2 seconds later, he's just like, how'd you do that? I'm just like, I ain't telling you shit. If you're in trouble now, I'm about to tell your pops that you locked me out on the balcony.
It's basically
you're gonna snitch on him? No.
I was gonna snitch, but I didn't.
It was basically that Simpsons meme where the kid kicks you out of Moe's bar, but then you just appear in the bar from behind.
Yes. Full on. I remember his face too, because he was so proud of himself for like locking me on the balcony, and the fact that I walked in, no lie, 30 seconds later and was just in the room with him, he almost shit himself.
Little kid's like, what the?
How did he do that?
He's a wizard.
It was
You appear behind the kid, and then a big gong happens, and then all of a sudden the Undertaker theme comes in. The lights get low. It's like,
I just let him throw a little fog machine in there too.
Big brim hats, long hair, really pale. There's like another guy holding like a
urn.
why'd you lock him out?
Here comes
Clip.
Brian.
Yes.
That's a wild shit. Brian the Undertaker. That's good times.
You just tombstone the kid.
Toss his ass out on the balcony after I tombstone. There you go.
God.
Good times.
No children are actually harmed during the recording of this episode.
Yeah.
You know, we actually have to put that PSA out there.
I know. That's it.
Thanks, guys. I
God
really
forbid
needed
you
that
tell a
laugh.
joke. God forbid you tell a joke. Folks, what shows? Speaking of laughter, speaking of crazy shit. I mean, I feel like we let Jaws go first because we want to. And Devin, I don't know if you've watched it, but we're going to talk about Guardians.
Oh my goodness,
yeah.
we are. Yeah.
We be talking Guardians.
Did you not see it yet?
I gotta get my toys. Hold up.
Okay, well, we're letting you know. We're gonna let Jaws go first because he has something to
I
talk
didn't
about.
get a chance to see it, but I am not going to stop.
Yeah,
I'm
I
not
know
gonna
Jaws doesn't care. You usually don't care. That's why.
No, I kind of care about Guardians.
Okay.
I do care, but no. Go
Actually,
ahead.
I care
Go.
very much.
I care, but go ahead. Go ahead.
I mean, we can try and do a spoiler-free.
Nope.
Okay, yeah.
I'm saying I messed up.
Devin, we understand if you're gonna take your leave, it will not be a problem.
It will be heavy, sir.
Since I don't go anywhere or do anything, I'm probably only going to see it when it's released on Disney or something. So
I went opening day. I was very excited. But okay, let's talk about Neil Brennan first. Shout outs to Neil Brennan and the comedy special Blocks. Jaws hit. Oh, Jesus. For those of you listening, Skinny disappeared for like 30 seconds and came back with a fistful of action figures. Like you know when you're trying to hold like 10 things at once in one hand, so they're like in between every finger. That's how his hands look right now.
It's only 5 of them.
It's only how dare I? Only 5 action figures in your hand.
I didn't bring
one hand.
It
It wasn't a double fister. It was a one-hander.
Yeah, sorry, it was a one-hander, 5 figures.
Devin was
Bring
just holding up
Cosmo.
some a Weird Al action figure from White and Nerdy, I think, right?
yeah, I did.
I have my Invincible figures. Actually, you can't see them; they're out of frame now. But
I'm actually surrounded, but they're all in front of me, so you can't see. Behind me is
Right?
just my comic books.
sometimes I love that I have this background, but I also wish people could see the side where I have a bunch of stuff, and here where I have a bunch more stuff. And I'm like, it's all good. One day, you guys will get a tour of the office when it's not as messy. Neil Brennan, the man, the myth, the legend, Chappelle's the Chappelle Show co-creator.
He's back.
Co-creator, co-writer, director, podcaster.
Right? He direct. Yeah, what movie did he direct? Someone was talking about that recently.
He directed Half Baked.
That's it.
Was it Half Baked he directed?
Is it Half
Yeah, I
Baked?
think so.
I'm gonna look
He
it
also
up.
directs.
I love that.
But he also directs commercials as well. So like there's a few Kevin Hart stuff and Samsung stuff, and I think he does voiceovers and stuff like that. So he has a Netflix special called Blocks, and so he kind of coined the term traumedy. So it's him like the blocks are basically his things that he feels makes him really weird and kind of outcasty, and he has like like comedy bits around each thing. So like each thing that's kind of weird in his life is kind of represented by like this block on the wall behind him that was created by an artist friend of his. And he'll kind of take one, rearrange it, and kind of talk about it. So like, he talks about doing comedy. He talks about, relationships and why sometimes he's very weird about it. And, sometimes he's been the one to hurt somebody, and sometimes he's been the one that's been hurt. And so, just like really kind of it's like kind of talking to the crowd and kind of like doing comedy. He also mentioned that at some point, like he mentions at some point where he starts doing comedy, and then some of the comedians are like, you should be a writer. And he's like, that's comedian speak for like, give me your jokes. Your jokes are really good. And but he's also been in the space where he was with writers, and otherwise like, you should be a comedian. He's like, that's writer speak for you're really annoying.
That's fucking funny.
So it was pretty cool. And like, it was very vulnerable, and talking about like like he can't see himself having kids because he's like the youngest of 10 kids, and his parents were born during the Great Depression, and they felt like, oh, we should just bring in 10 kids and both of us just make them feel depressed all the time or something like that, And he knows the kind of person his dad was, and he's like, well, I'm half my dad, and I don't want to mess up a kid, by whatever craziness I'm pulling from that to over here. So what's also cool too is that like if you think the special sounds interesting and you watch it and you're kind of like, oh, I kind of want a little bit more than that. He actually has a podcast kind of related to that comedy special where he'll have comedy guests on his show, and they'll talk about their blocks and stuff like that. So far he's already had David Letterman on his show. He's had, I think, Bobby Lee.
Of course.
Yeah, Bobby Lee's on the show.
Yeah,
Was on the show.
Bobby's got to be there.
He's got other people too. So it's a really good special, definitely worth watching. And little art installation that he plays with kind of plays into the whole thing. And it's definitely worth a watch. So I would definitely highly recommend it. Oh, there was one bit that he talks about where he talks about going to the CEO of Netflix place for like this like who's who of guests there. So he's like name dropping people, and he has like a bit about Chris Rock really kind of like really making fun of him really hard.
Him and Chris Rock are actually really good friends from what I understand.
Yeah. Before he did the show, the podcast Blocks, he had another show called not the Champs.
No.
So there was one in between called How Neil Feel.
Oh yes.
Yeah,
And he had a really cool co-host with him, Bianca.
Bianca, she's an old Caribbean woman. That show is so cool because he would get the fans to make musical spots, and there was like a guy that was really good. Okay. And there was like one part where Bianca, who's like I think she's like part Arabic and her family's from Panama or something like that. So she said one time she feels like she's an old Caribbean woman, and then someone took that and made a whole song and they would just play it.
Yeah, I remember when it was How Neil Feels podcast with Bianca, and they did a really good episode with Chris Rock.
Mm-hmm.
And I almost feel like that episode, mind you, most of Neil's content kind of hit on his, as you mentioned, traumedy type thing. But that episode, it specifically of the podcast, felt like it touched on the same ideas that the Blocks podcast does. It almost felt like a prequel to it, in a sense, because that was a very interesting episode and conversation. I think it was split into two parts. It was very good. Yeah. I remember watching that one and being like, oh, maybe I should have given this guy, because that was one of the things. Neil has always been great, and I always liked him when he was with Chappelle. Then when he wasn't with Chappelle, I was kind of just like, oh, you're just a white nerdy friend. And it's just like, no, he's actually, like, I wasn't trying to dismiss him, but at the same time, I was full on dismissing him. I'm not going to lie. Like, I was kind of just like, when you see someone like like, you know, someone through their cool friend, and then you see them without the cool friend, and you're just like, I guess I could talk to you. Like,
No.
Oh man, but no, like I remember even
guys, I'm being honest.
yeah.
Neil Brennan felt like the friend of the cool guy that I was like, I guess I'll listen to what you have to say. And then I was wrong. I'm saying
So you never got to see him on Breakfast Club or him just talking with other people and just like really. So like he's mentioned before that like there'll be times where he actually gives people jokes or like, hey, maybe if you cut this and like like he's, you know, he's definitely like a writer kind of guy. Yeah, like, hey, maybe you should kind of clean this up and this and that. And so I know he's written for Ellen, he's written for Chris Rock, he's written for quite a few people.
And also, by the way, the movie that he directed, which is one of my favorite movies, and I could not remember it I couldn't remember that he directed it. The Goods, Live Hard, Sell Hard. One of my favorite movies. It's with what's his name? Adam McKay and Will Ferrell produced it, and it stars Jeremy Piven, Ving Rhames, James Brolin, and Catherine Hahn. Fantastic movie. If you guys haven't seen it, it's about a car dealership that needs to hire like car dealership sales mercenaries because they're trying to like clean out the lot by the end of a weekend, and they bring in Jeremy Piven and his crew who are like sharks. They like can sell anything. So funny, such inappropriate comedy. Like half of the jokes you could not do today, and I still love that movie. Hopefully I don't get canceled for saying I love it. Do not watch it if you get easily offended. They do some really inappropriate stuff. We're talking like girl trying to sleep with a man with special needs. It gets wild. It gets wild. Yes. Skinny. That face you just made. Yeah.
All right. So
that's the face everyone makes when they watch the movie. They're like, what the
emotional
damage?
Emotional damage.
What's his name? Uncle. What's that chef's name?
I forgot the guy's name, but I know who you're talking about.
Emotional damage. That's so good. Anyways,
that's it. Blocks.
Dope. Check out Blocks, and definitely check out his directorial film. Like, I'm telling you, The Goods is a good film if you guys are looking for something funny and stupid. Devin, are you sure you want to stay for the
Yeah, I kind of thought over. I don't want to get spoiled.
Yeah. I felt like I should give you. I felt like I should give you an out because I know.
Cool, man.
We gonna spoil it.
We gonna spoil it.
And I can see Jaws later. I'm going, why did I let them do this?
What have I done?
But folks, once again, you guys can check out Nerdstock. You can check out nerdstockfest.com. All the information is there. Devin, is there anything else you want to tell people?
Actually, I did forget to mention there's also going to be some nerdy vendors at the show too.
Oh, dope. Okay.
Yeah, so there's going to be some toy guys, some just artists, and Chris from Squared Ideas setting up.
Yeah.
Man, I've been seeing like Chris's IG, and I'm loving the stuff you.
We actually just did a con this past weekend in K-Town.
Oh yeah,
set up and
I didn't get to go to that. Yeah, it was. But guys,
dude,
it was
what
on
a vintage
Comic
show!
Book Day.
I know, but
why? I went to the show. I went to the Toy Con show on April 15th. Got the flyer from the homie at Key Issues, and I was just like, okay, cool. And then I'm like looking at the date. I'm like, why does May 6th seem important to me? I feel like I've seen that somewhere else recently. And then the week comes, and I'm just like, I still have the flyer next to the comic book I bought at the show, because I bought one comic book. I bought the first issue of Radiant Black with a variant cover from Key Issues, which I love. I'm actually going to frame that one because I bought all the Radiant on Comic Book Day, Free Comic Book Day. But I'm like looking at the flyer, and I'm like, wait, May 6th. Oh, you guys are doing this on Free Comic Book Day. I can't go to Kanawake for Free Comic Book Day.
We could have came on the Sunday.
Yeah, that's true.
Because on the Sunday they also had live wrestling.
Oh, damn. Okay, well, I'll have to go for next time.
And then, but Ottawa will have live wrestling too.
Hey, there you go. Speaking of wrestling,
oh yeah, we got everything.
Me tombstoning a kid. No, I'm joking.
There we go. We'll prep your costume.
Someone's gonna turn that into a soundbite, and I'm gonna get in trouble.
But
yeah, man.
Friday, June. No, Saturday. Sorry.
Saturday,
June 10th. Saturday,
Friday, June 9th. Rest up for Saturday.
Saturday,
That's
June
what you meant
10th.
to say. That's what you meant to say. There you go. Yeah.
And we are taking over Fufun Electric.
There we go. It's a nice
going
spot,
to be a bar full of nerds everywhere, from the tech world to our world.
Sweet.
Dope. All right, man. We appreciate you coming through.
Hey,
We'll
thanks a
talk
lot
to
for
you
your
soon.
time, guys,
Thanks
and
for coming
we'll
through,
keep in touch.
Yeah.
Peace,
Good one,
man.
man.
Take
Cheers.
care.
Later. Guys, it's gonna let's start spoiling. Oh, I was like, let's spoil now.
Man, this nigga didn't kill nobody. Shouts to him. Bang.
Yeah.
Bang. That's it. Bang.
I was actually disappointed.
Close your trilogy without killing niggas. Bang. Good.
Ooh,
Yes.
I wanted
How we
death.
do things.
I
Yes.
wanted death. I wanted
Nah,
one
nah.
I
character.
didn't mind
Death.
not having death for once in these
I'm
things.
super good on
Nice.
that. Oh my God,
Really?
you're dead.
Actually,
Oh,
whoa.
dead.
Okay, we didn't kill. He didn't kill any. Okay, let's start from the beginning. Let's
Well,
hold on.
hold on. Technically, Groot did die in the first movie.
Man.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, but
He
didn't
regrew.
die.
That doesn't count.
Yeah.
No,
He died in
it
this
does
one.
because there's a video where they acknowledge this is technically Groot's son.
Word.
Yeah,
Technically.
this is technically Groot's son. Groot, the original Groot, is dead,
That's cool.
which is kind of wild. But since then, this other Groot has done way more, so no one really cares.
I
About
mean, the
first.
original, the first movie, someone had to go. Second movie, someone had to go. Third movie, I'm cool. I'm super cool with nobody dying.
That's the part I didn't understand. You
Well,
killed
I
off
mean-
people in every movie except
Exactly.
the final one. Where I was just
Exactly.
like the one where you-
Peace out. I
the-
left everybody intact. Ha ha.
Technically, there were deaths, but those deaths were in the past to tell the story of the future.
No. I'm
Because
talking
now-
about like core team members that you came up and loved, the mixtape gang. Oh, they're gonna sing rock music. At least we're not like, oh, Drax burned to death. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, he did a big, great, and we all thought
Although there was a lot of teases. There was a.
Well,
They,
for
I
sure.
think
Yeah.
they leaned into that because like, oh, there's this rumor. Let's just fuck with them
with the Chris
for
Pratt
the like
cry.
90 first minutes.
Oh, actually, Rocket kind of died for like 30 seconds.
Yes.
He was
Okay,
technically
but
dying the whole movie.
let's start from the beginning.
Let's jump.
Let's
go.
let's give people a little bit of some info.
Context.
So
fine.
just before we go into it, spoilers. We are about to spoil Guardians of the Galaxies. Oh, I missed that.
How am I still here?
Pure galaxies in the mind.
Yeah. My bad.
Galaxies
Sorry,
in
yeah.
them.
Let's run that again and take two. Spoilers. We are about to spoil Guardians of the Galaxy 3. If you have not seen the film and do not want spoilers, we would ask you to please hold until you no longer see this banner across the bottom, because I'll
Okay.
just leave it. I guess I can just leave it, or if
We're just no
anything,
streaming while I'm doing this podcast. Wow.
we're just gonna you guys we're gonna take it off, but just know there are spoilers happening. Do not be mad at us. Don't get all
They love us. They love when we spoil. They don't.
Who
give
I
a
know.
thought Darth Vader was Luke Skywalker's father. like
That
right
joke.
off the bat.
Jaws is starting to look less and less happy about his decision.
You know what's actually funny? When I left the theater, I actually did bump into a friend that was going to go see the movie, and I was like, and that's the first thing I said to him when I got out. He was like, because he thought I was gonna say it. When I say, he's like, that was funny and all, but like, you better shut up now.
So this is the third movie. It takes place after the Christmas special, which if you didn't have to see the Christmas special to know what's going on, but it did give you a little bit of insight into where they are now. They're now living in the skull of a dead god nowhere.
Oh, yeah.
Dead Celestial of no.
That was shown in the first movie, so they moved
Yeah.
there.
They've been
Yeah,
there since. Fallen.
exactly.
Yeah. dude.
And you kind of like this Christmas special gives you a sense of how it's laid out and the community they're building, which was really nice. So if you get into the movie, you kind of get a sense at the beginning of like comfort because you already know what's happening. Whereas if you didn't watch a Christmas special, the last time you might have seen them was Thor, where they're just flying around space.
But also in the Christmas special, that's when Mantis really confirms that she's his brother. Their brother and sister and sister.
Yeah, they're siblings.
That they're siblings.
Her and
whatnot.
Star-Lord are siblings.
Yeah, but
That's
that was
what
like, although it wasn't important, but it was like it was mentioned, but it could have not been.
They took care of that at the beginning of this movie too, because she's like, what's her name says it to her, like at the beginning of the film, Star-Lord is having a rough time of it, and everyone's kind of just being angry because he's always drunk. And what's her name carries him. Why am I drawing a blank on her name?
Nebula.
Nebula says to, like, everyone's trying to point fingers and being like, why don't you do this? Why don't you do this? And Nebula says to Mantis, well, you're his sister. And that's when you're like, if you hadn't seen the Christmas special, you're like, oh my God. But at that point, no one gives up. So it's like, whatever.
I thought it was cool. I liked
It was, I thought it was nice. I got to say, for those of you who were excited for Adam Warlock, he does show up real early.
Real early.
He attacks nowhere. Rocket gets injured. They try and save. Yeah, bad injured. He's pretty much dying. They're trying to save Rocket's life. They put the med pack on him. It reacts badly.
Failsafe.
Yeah, he has failsafes in his body. You start to find out that he has proprietary technology in his body that is protected, and you can't just work on him. And that's where our story begins. Then the story is them trying to figure out how to save Rocket's life. And James Gunn has said this trilogy was secretly a Rocket trilogy the whole time. It's that he saw the story of the Guardians through Rocket's eyes. That was the perspective he felt he was writing from the whole time, which I thought was a very interesting take. It's almost like when I say
because the second one, Rocket's a dick,
right? Yeah.
For inexplicable.
Yeah. You're like, why are you acting like?
You're like, you're just whoa.
He's game. No.
But it's like how Captain America. Sorry.
He's getting emotional because he's like, I'm the only one of my kind.
Right. But I was just saying, like, that trilogy being Rocket's trilogy is similar to how I keep saying Captain America's trilogy is secretly a Bucky trilogy.
Which I also kind of agree on.
Yeah, I think a lot of people actually feel that way. I don't think it's so much of a secret anymore.
Oh, I feel it's like it's almost, to a certain degree, it's like a double. Like, it's two different trilogies that just so happen to be.
I don't give Cap anything because Bucky is his best friend.
Friendship story. That's basically it.
Yeah, I guess. But all this to say, this Guardians of the Galaxy film is really about saving Rocket's life and going beyond that. So let's start. Where do you guys want to start with the story?
What do you mean?
What's the first thing you guys want to talk about? Do you want to talk about Adam Warlock showing up? Do you want to talk about the fact that Gamora isn't there, comes back, how they work her into the story? Where do you guys feel is the most important aspect for fans that we would want to discuss?
So much happening in this shit.
So much. So I would just say that it's not just. I think it's not only the best of the series. Because although the original is like obviously great because you're being introduced to the characters for the first time, technically this is the best fleshed out movie.
Yeah, I can see that.
I'll go 1, 3, 2 easily.
Yeah, same. Yeah, that's what I said.
But I would say that this movie does trump a lot of what's been out in Marvel. I would say it's maybe the best movie in phase 3.
5.
We're in 3. Whichever one we're in now.
5.
Yeah, we're in 5.
We're in 5.
Since phase 3.
You're 2 phases back.
No, wait. Infinity War and Endgame was phase 4?
3.
3?
Yeah. Phase 4 is all the shit. They Spider-Man and then all the shit afterwards that nobody likes.
Yeah, okay.
Up until Black Panther, and then it's phase 5.
Because this has been since basically all I was going to say is like,
wasn't Ant-Man the first phase 5?
Yeah. So So
like
Black
it
Panther
it schools most of the movies that have been released since the Infinity War /
but that's easy because they had an original director of the first 1 and 2. Everything in phase 4 has not been an original director that was a part of phase 1, 2, and 3.
That is a good point.
That's a
big fact.
Yeah, James Gunn. You can really tell that James Gunn, as a writer director too, cares about the characters more and has a stronger connection to these characters in telling the story. Well, no, Coogler was also the director for the second Black Panther.
Coogler got a friggin' big old bone thrown in his wheel, and he had to go and do a tribute movie instead of doing his movie.
Yeah, that's fair. Okay, fair. Yeah, we acknowledge
Sam Raimi came out here and swang his dick around and said, "Hey, I can do horror."
And then did so much Evil Dead and even concluded some Evil Dead in his movie, which I personally enjoyed. But
had no need to be in the MCU, but sure, that's what you guys wanted, so he did it.
The only thing I would say was really, if I had to say something I didn't like about the movie, it's just a very me thing, and I know that some people are like me in this sense, like. People dying or being abused on TV or movies is like, yeah, okay, sure. But something about animals being mistreated, I felt very uncomfortable for a lot of the flashbacks. It was very like
actually not real animals.
This sucks.
Especially animals that aren't real.
It's a CGI.
Yeah, I know. They did a good job of making those animals look real, bro. Like, I'm sorry. Like, I was with a friend of mine who I didn't realize was the same.
You hear that? You hear that raccoon's Brooklyn accent? He's real to me. Damn it!
you hear that raccoon
Mate,
title? You hear that raccoon's Brooklyn accent is the title. That is fantastic.
My man's got feels over a weasel.
No, but it's just I'm one like example like what was like it's such an old movie, but I can't think of anything recent like Homeward Bound, dude. I was like one of those people like
oh yeah,
like, you know.
Yeah, you're right.
I was one of them kids like, why are you watching this?
Don't get me wrong. I understand that for some people, not for me. Especially again, if it's CGI animals, I'm not going to feel a way about them. There's like whatever it is. But I understand some people feel a certain way about seeing animals injured and tested on and tortured. I would say the fact that the high evolutionary was doing this to any living creature, the animals was, trust me, everyone was getting it when he was.
Oh yeah, that's why it's like I wasn't like it wasn't ruining the movie. I'm just saying like there was certain aspects. I was like I didn't want to feel this way. Like this is such a great scene, but I hate seeing what I'm seeing.
Dave, let me ask you.
It was the one thing you didn't like, which is like
no, but I'm saying it's because that's the thing. It's like it was only because of my like internal programming. I don't know
which one was it? Was it Floor? Was it Floor or Lila? I know you if you had no feels for that big old fucking walrus thing.
Nah, he was hideous.
Okay, so was it Floor?
I'm joking. I'm just joking. I said that for a joke. Come on. Don't be like that.
This man has
rolling in the joke. He's rolling with me.
No, seriously, I was just like, this sucks. But anyways,
it was Floor, wasn't it? It was a bunny.
It also proves that it was good storytelling.
It was good storytelling.
It was great storytelling. The balance of comedy and whatnot. Surprised that they finally dropped an F-bomb in the film. That was hilarious.
Which is supposedly the first one.
It is. It's the first Marvel in the first.
It's the first. I've not heard Marvel say the F-bomb ever.
Yeah.
It's so funny.
When he was just like,
James Gunn did an interview where they were asking him, "How do you feel having the first F-bomb in your legacy?" And there was a story. He was telling the story of how he was talking to Feige, and Feige was telling him, "Well, the Russos had one in Endgame. Tony was actually going to say something, get off my fucking planet," or something like that before he snapped, and they actually approved it. And the Russos were the ones that said afterwards, actually, this is not the direction we want to go in. Like,
because it's corny.
I don't know. Yeah. Whatever reason, they just felt it would be better if they did the I Am Iron Man.
No, what they did in Guardians is everyday shit. That's why I died because I've done that. Yeah. I said that to someone the other day.
Yeah.
Like, what do you then? What? Open the fucking door. Yes. I said yes so loud in the theater with approval. I was just like, yes. More of this.
But that's like I'm not surprised because that seems on brand for this version of Guardians of the Galaxy. Yeah. Like I can't really see it for like Captain America is always telling everyone about language because he's literally the old man of the group, which makes sense.
I like the saucepan that James Gunn has to work in here because he can't go off like he did in Peacemaker where every second word is a Phil Farm and so on. You know what I'm saying? Like he just goes off. So I'm kind of good with this.
But I also felt like it was his last way of being like, yeah, fuck y'all, I'm out. Like I'm going to DC, peace y'all.
Because of them, he got DC.
You know?
Listen, when they sent him over there to ruin Suicide Squad, look at him getting a job. Come on.
But I also feel that like I find like before you start writing a movie, you should watch Blade 3. And when you watch Blade 3, you're gonna be like, wow, that's a lot of swearing.
Yeah.
You could be a person that swears a lot, but you watch Blade 3 and you're like, no one really talks like that. That's too much swearing. Why that's not even edgy. This is ridiculous now.
This is absurd. Sam Jackson in a movie, just throwing. You're like
the fact that Sam Jackson doesn't say the swear word is pretty funny.
Yeah, that too. Actually, I thought that was very. The fact that he is Nick Cage,
he was going to
not Nick Cage, Nick Fury. This many movies in,
Nick Fury was going to say it, but then he got dusted.
Yeah,
it's true.
Yeah, that was
Can we talk about Counter Earth? Can we talk about a lot of just all of it?
I was actually gonna say yes. Counter Earth to me was
that Bat family. That was my favorite part of the movie. That interaction with the Bat family who could not date. There's no, but then you just see the frustration and worry in the father's face.
Yes, the whole time.
Why are these people in my house?
Yeah.
Why?
Why are you getting them the car? We're never seeing that car again. Why
never seen the car again. Ever again.
The High Evolutionary's idea is that he wants to create the perfect and peaceful, like, people, and he wants to put them on a planet. he, for some reason, has been to Earth and thought of Earth as like almost the perfect society and place, except that humans are instinctually bad. Like there's just something evil about them.
Apparently.
Say what? Sorry?
He's been running amok for 300 years, apparently.
Right. So he has this idea.
He saw Prometheus. I bring you love. Kill it.
But
yeah, these humans.
So he does. So he starts doing all this testing. He's trying to figure out how to do it. That's why Rocket is a product of the test that he was doing. He was like one of the earlier groups. Rocket's the group 8-9, where they do all this kind of modifications and stuff like that, and create intelligence or the ability to speak in the animals. Rocket turns out to be some sort of like Marvel super genius, because the High Evolutionary is trying to figure out this compound to evolve creatures through their natural state,
but taking away rage.
Yeah, to being humanoid, but he wants to take away rage. And somehow Rocket's the one that figures it out.
He's just like, you just got to do this. And then
High Evolutionary gives
him the West Indian Bowie.
Yeah.
He looked at himself like,
yeah, it was bad because I've never seen, you like that. It's going to be a really bad analogy, but you know when you watch the movies with slave masters and the slave like fights back or speaks up or like does something that shows the slave master like, bitch, I'm human. Like I'm not just property. I'm as intelligent and capable as you. And the slave master has a face of like, the fuck you like. High Evolutionary looked at Rocket Raccoon like, what the heck?
Where the bottom lip starts to quiver.
Yeah, like a level of like rage at the fact that the student has surpassed the master. It was wild to see.
Yeah,
and then like you just keep watching the scene play out, and the High Evolutionary full on has a breakdown, becomes like an alcoholic little bitch, is like white girl wasted. Where is she? Where is this bitch? Bring this bitch, like just running around the halls.
You have to do your treatment, sir. No.
Yeah. No, I don't want it. Dude, honestly, that scene had me laughing so hard because I just kept picturing, I'm just like, this man is having a white girl wasted full on meltdown, like on the floor. Like, just
tell me how you did it. How did you?
Can I
like
just
kicking
bring
his
up
feet on the
quick?
couch and stuff?
Yeah.
I want to bring up something real quick. I'm just looking up this actor that played the High Evolutionary in Guardians of the Galaxy. He was also in Peacemaker. All right.
Yeah.
Hooking it up.
Yeah. He's
James
great.
Gunn hooking it up.
Yeah. James Gunn likes using the same. His wife is in it. Everyone that's in Peacemaker and the Suicide Squad that he could fit in, he did fit in.
James Gunn's getting a piece of all of them.
Nathan
Ratcatcher is in it.
Nathan Fillion and his crew from that show, wasn't it?
Nathan Fillion is in it. Ratcatcher is in it. She plays the girl that on the planet that is like in the room, in the computer room. Like they're all there.
Wows. Yeah, they're all there.
Yeah,
his wife's there. She gets shot in the leg. Oh my god, that was good.
Yeah, that was pretty.
She
funny.
just shot her in the knee.
But that's it. Like he likes, and he's not the only. I mean, tons of directors do that. Wes Anderson, all of them do it. They like to just work with certain people, and they're just like, "Yo, you're cool to work with. Let's just do another project together."
Hey, I don't have to yell at you. Come.
Right. That's and that it's not wrong. Like there are directors who appreciate the shorthand. Like once you have that shorthand where you don't have to say too much, like supposedly for Chris Pratt, there's times on set where he tells Chris less bad, and that's it. That's all he says to Chris.
What does that even mean? Less evil, less less crappy.
Yeah, less crappy. He means like less crappy.
Imagine a grown man looking me in my face at my job and be like, hey, Keel, hey, try it again.
Less bad. But that's the thing.
But if he knows how to talk to you, then that's like, if that's how you talk to each other.
Exactly.
That's fine. But if he
y'all
doesn't know
have
you at
that
all,
kind of relationship and he has the shorthand with you, and when he says less bad, it means, oh, you didn't do this or this. You're just like, yeah, motherfucker, I know. Like, we good. Let's just go next. Keep rolling. Like
bad.
And then, but because the other thing that they said in the interview is Chris Pratt will ad lib a line, and then James will write the replies. So the scene that you see where he says to her, you have such pretty eyes," and she says, "My father pulled out my eyes," blah blah blah. That was all ad lib. He said that first line about the eyes. James Gunn wrote the reply on set, gave it to her. She says they shot it and redid the scene, and that made it into a trailer because it was so good. So they have that rapport where all the actors trust in the director and in James and the whole crew so well that they can just do stuff like that. And it's so good. It makes the trailer, and that scene, even though I saw that scene in the trailer, it is still great in
really
the movie.
good in the
It's so good in the movie. Like
everything they showed in the trailer still worked very well in the film itself.
That is one of the best things James Gunn has going for him when it comes to Marvel movies, because there's a lot of Marvel movies where everything in the trailer is everything in the show.
You know, there was only one scene that they showed in the trailers that wasn't actually in the movie, and I didn't even notice it till afterwards. You know, when you see High Evolutionary floating with his legs crossed,
right?
That shit ain't in the movie.
Yeah.
And that's like super dramatic. You're like, oh, what's he about to do?
Yeah,
nothing. He ain't about to do nothing.
It was good, man.
His face got ripped up.
Really good.
What?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, his face. Can we talk about his face?
Yeah. I mean,
I was not expecting that.
Speaking about the,
I was expecting something.
Robotics. I was expecting like, oh, like he.
No, but the whole time you see it stretch, so you're like, either they're gonna rip that shit off. I didn't expect it to be a mask.
I didn't expect it to be just so peelable. Like, you're a high evolutionary and you can't get a better way to put on your face, B.
So he's like,
I'm shocked he didn't clone himself or something.
So he's like, was it RoboCop?
Yes.
He takes off the helmet and just stretch.
Oh no! His face is like that.
Well, that's how it looks.
That's how he looks regularly. It's when you find out at the end what happened to him and why he wears that stretch mask face. Is because something else happened to him, and you see what the results of that is, and it's bad, dude. Like,
it's bad. It's not.
It looks like
it's nuts. Man. That's like Two-Face on crack.
Yeah.
Like they were like, hey, let's
Two-Face with an extra hint of acid.
Yeah, let's get a nasty face that was really, really messed up, and then just like put some 10 on it.
Yeah,
like salt.
Yeah. Oh god,
that's a bad cut you have there. Here's some vinegar.
Here's some vinegar. You know what? We actually managed not to spoil too much, so I say we just give our impressions and finish off the Guardians part, because we've actually talked about how great it is, how good the acting is, how good the cast was, how solid the story is, how great it is in the MCU, and we didn't spoil so much of the movie. So I think we actually did a solid review without spoiling too many things.
Not much to spoil, really, because regardless, you're gonna have a great time. So it's like, it's not worth it.
Yeah,
Counter Earth part is you're gonna laugh.
Oh my god, you're gonna laugh. Yes, that stuff is really, really good.
I gotta laugh at Counter Earth. You're gonna laugh at Orga. A lot.
Batista, I was kind of just like, the way Batista acted attitude-wise before this movie, where he just kept throwing around like, well, if they're not going to bring Gunn back, I'm just not going to keep doing this. And I was like, shut up, dude. But
now I get it.
Now I get it. Yes. Because I understand why he specifically wanted to work with Gunn. When you watch the film, you really understand they do have that kind of connection and communication between them. And it really was solid. Like
Batista's like an actor now.
Yes.
Like, look at him.
Dude, I'm gonna drop the names of the directors Batista has been working with in the past few years.
Yeah, Villeneuve.
Denis Villeneuve.
Yeah.
Rain Johnson.
Yeah.
Glass Onion dude. You know?
He said he would like, Villeneuve is one of the reasons he wants to be better. He said like working with him and Villeneuve recognizing his skills inspired him to be like, oh, I thought, I'm a wrestler.
I can do this.
I can act, but I want to be an actor. And he's done it. I mean, I say it every time, he's the best to this day out of all the wrestlers I've ever seen. He's the best actor / wrestler.
Yeah.
All of them.
Not the most profitable, but
I'm not talking about profits. I'm talking about talent. Profits don't mean anything.
Profitable? What do you mean?
He's talking about The Rock, but The Rock,
whatever.
But
Batista's going to be eating good for the rest of his life.
Exactly.
And I don't think, it seems like Batista doesn't want to keep working out that hard.
Right?
Nah, he put a vest on real quick. What do you mean?
Yeah.
So
he's like,
like he said, like everyone's like, oh, how come we're gonna not do Drax? He's like, I can't do that body forever.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
And he also
You're
said he
insane.
hated the paint, like the paint stuff. Like,
yeah, he was in
Yeah.
the chair for a long time.
Yeah,
He's-
yeah.
Like that's a
He's the
good at
only-
least 6 hours maybe,
Yeah.
depending
the
on how
only
much they have to
person-
cover.
He's the only person on set not clothed.
Yeah.
You cold, bro.
That's
Dude's just
true.
running around with body paint half of, man.
Yeah.
That's cold as hell.
yeah. Those sound stages are not heated, man. It's true. Like this poor man had to be running around
Then he has
shirtless.
to put a blanket on, and all the paint comes off on the blanket.
Oh Lord,
You know, and then you have to
Reapply.
retouch him up again. Like it's
I didn't think about
That's
that.
trash. Great
Yeah.
movie.
So yeah,
Great movie.
Dave. Yeah,
I would say this. It has the like Empire Strikes Back / Return of the Jedi / like Die Hard 1, Die Hard 3. Like you have a strong combatant of it outdoing the best of the series. Like you know what I mean? It's fighting for its positioning for first position. I agree with Doc. I still think the first one's a little bit better, but it's probably more because of an introductory standpoint.
Yeah.
Personally, I think on that.
it's hard to land table setting, which is something we always say.
Exactly,
Like
right?
they did table setting in the first one and told a good story.
Yeah,
That's
we
exactly.
weren't even expecting that. He's like, Guardians. Who knows who
Right.
these guys
Yeah,
are? And you're like,
that's the
wait,
other thing that you have
what?
to give credit to James Gunn, though. Like,
Right.
no one thought this was going to be anything other than a throwaway, and it ends up being all the characters end up being important and lovable.
He
And-
managed to do underdogs in a universe that started with underdogs, which is
Exactly.
very interesting. Sorry,
Yeah.
Skinny. You looked like you were about to say
I
something.
just wanted to pivot off of what Dave said, but to also say, I just like it because you get finality without feeling like everybody's going to die.
Dude.
And I hate a lot of modern movies. They can't seem to do finality,
Right.
That whole doomsday, everybody's going to die type.
Right.
Feeling.
People have
I like
said that this film has a better sense of finality than Endgame.
Ooh.
This one you get wild closure, and you're like, you can go home and be
Right.
like, okay, my guys are okay.
Right.
I could see that.
I actually agree that I feel like this had more finality than Endgame. I understand why they say that, and I definitely get that from it. Like this movie ends. You know how those like college movies end, where like you get a chyron for each character. Like James went back to the market and got a job working for his uncle. This movie has that without chyrons. Like they show every character doing a thing, and you get this sense of like, and Skinny, you're right, because I really did expect someone to die, and I was kind of hoping like to see someone, self-sacrifice for the team, but true to they didn't have to, and they still gave us one of the most satisfying final end of a story. And if none of those characters ever came back, I actually wouldn't be upset. I wouldn't be mad.
But I think they get the finality over Endgame only because Endgame had too many characters to be able to do that. That's
Sure.
why they concluded on like more like two or
but they
three.
had 2 movies to build up and end the story, and it still didn't feel as good of an ending for everything as this did.
Also, what you show me old Steve for if you ain't gonna show his ass again? Where's he at? It's been 3 years. Stop it. Don't do that.
Well, I was gonna say, to be fair, when Tony does what he does, the ultimate sacrifice,
right?
And like someone in the crowd just went, "What the fuck?" When I went to go see it, someone yelled at, like, even though there was kids in the crowd, they were like, "Ah!" I did not see it coming out loud.
Oh, that was good.
And like, even I feel like even the parents in the crowd were they're like, "Oh, why did he swear?" They're like, "Yeah. At least I got kids here, so I can control myself."
Yeah. Wait, Wendell, at what point did he do it? When he realized what he did when he snapped, or when they showed him all toasty on the ground?
I think
if it was at the snap, that was great.
I think it was like in between. I think it was
okay, yeah.
Was
when he
between.
realized,
like he was just like like he was.
Hey, man, I mean,
he's like, how can you kill him? That's Iron Man.
Yeah, like and
I loved him for 5 years. Didn't read any of the comics.
Yeah, that's a whole other conversation.
But I don't know what that is.
I do understand the sense of like, if you were like 8, 9, or 10 in 2008, when the first movie came out with Iron Man, and then this movie comes out, and you're like 18 or 6. Like I don't remember what year does the Endgame come out? 2019, is it?
Yeah.
No, before that.
No, Endgame came out 2019.
I was thinking 2018.
Yeah, I was thinking 18 too.
18 was Infinity War.
Oh shit, it is 2019?
It's right before everything went to shit, I'm telling you. Yeah.
Yeah, I could see that.
They planned it. Anyways.
Yeah, seriously.
Because even my partner, when she was like,
Yeah.
okay, I'm gonna see Endgame 2. Bye. See you in 3 hours. 3 hours later. The fuck?
Right. Yeah, but like
I'm text 3 hours later.
I'm an 8-year-old, and then I'm 19.
Congratulations, you just had the best superhero story told of ever existing throughout
actual
childhood.
Closure.
We didn't get no closure.
He's gonna be a different actor now.
We got Batman Returns.
Yeah.
Batman
every
Forever.
Every Spider-Man movie we saw got rebooted, and these kids got to see Iron Man evolve and level up, and then self-sacrifice for the great self-sacrifice, and it's wild. So I can understand them having a hard time not being like, what the fuck, like the shock you must feel to watch this character you grew up with. So
also that person sound like a grown-ass man. It sound like
I also understand all them kids who probably were 8 years old and then grew up to see Iron Man die are the same motherfuckers that are complaining about everything now in Marvel.
Yes.
You have your right. Yeah, we're sorry we gave you the best shit of your life, but guess what? Life is disappointing sometimes.
Yeah. You know what though? Skinny's not wrong. They got fucking spoiled.
They got super spoiled.
They
got
How
you
super
mean?
Spoiled. They didn't have the whole bunch of weird Superman movies, which granted, those are fun to look back on now. But when we were kids, we're just like, okay, Richard Pryor, why are you in this Superman? Sure, give us these weird Superman movies. And then we got 89 Batman but then Val Kilmer and then George Clooney, and we're like, oh god damn it, what's happening?
You kids, you whippersnappers are so good. I remember the days when we had the Shadow and the Phantom.
Don't hate on either one of those.
I'm not hating on them. I'm just saying
that was
those got no sequels.
Can't forget, the Spirit. Can't forget him. Can't forget Darkman 1 and 2.
We can forget the Spirit. The Spirit wasn't good.
All this to say, we got a lot of bad, and then these movies. Meteor Man's fun though.
Yeah,
these movies are better. And I gotta say, this last movie, fantastic. The Guardians of the Galaxy is a solid ass film.
Thank you, James, for dunking on their asses so that everyone could shut up now. And now you can just go over to DC and be like, all right, now
pressure's on though, because if you that's the thing. I remember thinking when I walked out, I was just like, I almost feel bad that he did such a good job here, because like if he had messed up a little bit, then the pressure wouldn't be as high over at DC, because it'd be like, he can't be perfect the whole way through. You can't have 3 great Guardians movies and Peacemaker. Like, he's gonna mess up somehow. And no, this motherfucker hasn't tripped up yet. So
he didn't do the Flash, so Superman is his.
I know Superman Legacy.
Actually, fun fact, real quickie. Apparently, Martha and homeboy Kent are a black family.
I heard.
If you're trying to dog, if that's how you're coming out, let's go. Let's go.
Is it official or is it a rumor?
I saw a rumor, but if you're James, if that's how you're swing a line.
Yeah.
Go ahead, bro.
If he makes Pa Kent a black man and Mom,
so woo, is this going to be a black family raises a white boy?
Yes.
And
he's gonna become Superman. That's worse than Mr. Manhattan being black. Take that, America!
They're gonna be mad.
Oh my god, they're gonna be mad.
The best part is when Clark shows up with the fade. When Clark shows up with the mad fade.
Man, sorry. If Clark ends up being like,
look at this.
You remember that episode? The light-skinned dude in that episode. Well, the white dude in that episode of Atlanta.
Yes, exactly.
That's Clark. That's Clark showing up with the brushing his hair, like, yo, what's up, girl? It's like, my god, if that's Clark,
it's gonna be like, look at this guy, look at this Smallville guy. I don't know, man. His Jordans are fresh though.
Yeah,
they're very clean, man. I don't know, they're very clean.
Please
non-creased.
Please have Clark Kent in Jordan 3s, please.
Guys, that's pretty much the whole show. We gotta wrap it up. We got 3 pieces of geek news. Disney Plus to add Hulu content in one app experience later in 2023. That's in the States, actually, because the rest of us already know we got Stars, which is essentially the Hulu content in Canada and a whole bunch of other territories. So Disney is just essentially they're finally just bringing everything together. I don't know what that means for the non-Disney content that's on Hulu, but they'll figure it out. They'll probably end up on their own streamers. Meg 2, the Trenches official trailer has dropped. You guys should go check that out. Oppenheimer, new trailer, Universal Pictures has dropped. And shout outs to Warner Brothers for being the dicks who are putting up Barbie against Universal's Oppenheimer on purpose, because they knew
counter programming.
Yes, counter programming. They knew damn well that Nolan likes that weekend, because I was listening to a podcast where they talk about that weekend is specifically Nolan's favorite weekend to drop movies on. They knew he was going to use that weekend, and the fact that they put Barbie up against it because he doesn't work with Warner Brothers anymore is hilarious. So yeah,
that's true.
It's spiteful.
Well, did they get rid of him because of Tenet, or just his contract ran out and they didn't renew it?
He got mad because Warner Brothers started leaning, the last guy before Zaslav started leaning heavy into the streaming.
Oh, right.
And Nolan got mad and said, yo, I'm not about that life. I'm about theaters. You can't just cut the theater. And the other dude was just like, yo, I got to make my money. Pandemic. I don't know when we're all going back. Then that guy left. Zaslav came in from Discovery, and Zaslav was just like, I love movies. Went to CinemaCon, said, movies are our business. We love it. But Nolan had already bounced. So it is what it is.
You want to see technically dense, like, movie making, which is Oppenheimer. He did some practical effects for the bombs and stuff.
Yes, we won't even get into.
Or you want to see
bubblegum pop Barbie?
No, but like there's some kind of thing.
No,
in there.
Barbie's going to be some kind of social commentary.
There's either some kind of social commentary or some kind of
social commentary,
Lego movie kind of thing going on.
Yeah.
Oh, whoop! It's actually.
Yes, because there is like a real world, like the like dad or something is played by a guy in the real world and stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah,
this is gonna be some shit. This is gonna be woke Barbie, and people are gonna be like, "What? Watch."
I don't know. I mean, yeah, it's funny that people say woke Barbie because Barbie has literally had every job and Ken has never done anything. So you could call it woke, but she been a boss.
Like, well, you know what I mean? Not that kind of woke Barbie.
Space,
but like,
she's been a veterinarian. She's been a doctor.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like
she's done a lot.
People are gonna try. It's the same way that people are trying to say like, oh, Marvel's so woke with all this MCU. It's just like because we're using the female characters in all these stories that are actually in these stories. What are you
that have been established 10 years ago? Why weren't you mad then? Why weren't you mad in 2014?
You're mad about She-Hulk, a character that was one of the most popular characters.
I don't like it that they're making all these white characters black. But wait, was it the Sorcerer Supreme played by a white woman, which is actually Tibetan? Isn't Ra's al Ghul Arab?
Yeah,
played by Liam Neeson.
Let's start that list. Anyways, let's go. That's so wild, guys. That's another one. Anything you guys want to tell the people before we bounce?
Star-Lord, you should have worn your mask
on YouTube.
Yeah, Star-Lord, you should wear your mask.
That's true. We out. Peace, everybody.
Peace.